Connecting Community podcast. This is where we interview local nonprofit leaders and explore how we can collaborate to have a thriving community. Welcome to Connecting Communities. This is episode 4, and I am with Lori Peters with Habitat for Humanity. Lori, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to hear some updates in regards to where Habitat is and what's going on. But before we get started, just tell the audience a little bit about yourself and some background.
Okay, well, I'm Lori Peters. We've lived in Columbus about 20 years, just about, give or take. I've been with Habitat 5. Before that, I was teacher, guidance counselor, principal. Then I had babies and stayed home, and then Habitat is my first real foray back into the workforce. So Doug has been with, my husband Doug has been with the hospital the whole time we've been in Columbus. He's a physical therapist at the rehab center.
Awesome. So you've been in the community for a while and have raised your children here as well. And when you went back to the workforce with Habitat, what did that look like, and why were you passionate about working for Habitat?
Well, funny you ask. I didn't know I was passionate about Habitat when I started. Actually, a friend of mine came up to me. She was, as you know, we live across from the funeral home. Always interesting conversations when you're outside, and because you never know who's stopping by. And she came up to me, and I was outside doing something, and she said, "You know, I'm a director on this board for Habitat for Humanity, and we have been looking for an executive director forever and can't find the right fit. I think it's you. Would you be interested?" And I was like, okay, we'll talk about it. And then as I kind of got into it and learned a little bit more about, everybody knows Habitat for Humanity, but not everybody really knows deep inside Habitat. I don't quite know the words for that, but the more I got into it and learned about Habitat, the more it became something to really grasp hold of and believe in. I think probably that would come all the way back from my mom. My dad left us, and so my mom was a single mom, and I was old enough to notice how people in the community, people in her network, her circle, helped her during that time. And there are so many parallels. I think every year I look back and I'm like, oh, I've seen this before, just in a different manner, and it was how people reached out to my mom and our family during our time of need. I think really allows me to take a first person role in Habitat's mission and goals. Because I saw someone do it for my mom and how it changed our life, and when she needed a hand up and not a hand out. And I think that's probably why it's been so easy to become so involved in the philosophy of Habitat.
Wow, that's a full circle almost, right?
Yeah.
Full circle story.
And I don't know that I've ever put words to that either, so exclusive.
Exclusive news right here.
Like anybody cares.
I think that's powerful, though, because it goes to show that our life and our life experiences really can impact the work that we do, and especially in a nonprofit, right? So when we speak of Habitat, for those that may not be familiar with Habitat for Humanity, especially in Columbus, what is the work that you do and the impact that you are providing to our community?
Well, I think Habitat is a Christian housing ministry, first of all. Their goal is to provide affordable housing to someone who would not otherwise be able to afford it, I guess, is the layman's terms. So, for example, maybe it's a family who's been in a situation and they've hit rock bottom financially, or and they wouldn't be able to save enough money to make a down payment on a home, to buy a home. Maybe it's because of medical bills. Maybe it's because of a divorce. Maybe it's because of an abusive relationship. Maybe they were laid off for a time and got behind on their bills. Most of the reasons we help Habitat owners are not, they're not in that place because they're lazy or they lack a motivation to work, or they make foolish decisions financially. Of course, we all do that once in a while, right? But they don't have a consistent life history of that. Habitat is kind of like a bridge. It's helping someone who has gotten stuck move to the other side of the road
Yeah.
or the river, whatever it is. And I like that. That calls to me. Um, I have it. My parents installed a strong work ethic in me. I think that's
Mhm.
important. Nothing in Habitat is free, which is our most common belief is that a Habitat home is given for free to the family, but that is not true. Um, I forgot the question.
No, I think you've answered
Did
it. I
I?
mean,
Okay.
the aspect that, I think when I think of habitat, and especially in today where we're at, the big buzzword is diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Mhm,
But, habitat has been providing equitable services, in the way that they structure that, it's the way of being able to say, okay, life's opportunities and different things, we recognize that certain people may not have had all the opportunities that someone else had. And this might have been a situation in regards to the home and what that looks like. And Habitat looks at that from a
mhm,
different equitable lens and says,
mhm,
okay, yes, you still have to work in regards to meeting the needs of, building the home and what that all entails. And providing that, as you said, that hand up
mhm,
as not a handout.
mhm,
And
mhm.
what does that mean to you when you say that? What does that mean to you?
A hand up. Well, I like it because I don't we all need to work for what we get, right? We
Mhm.
shouldn't have to, um I don't like handouts. I mean, there's a time and place for them, don't get me wrong, but,
Mhm.
I like that we help you move up. We're not just giving it to you, and I like that it is the community behind
Mhm.
us that helps them have a hand up, you know, um I was just counting up the volunteer hours for our last build, and we're at like 1,700 hours, pretty close. We're
Mhm.
almost at 2,000, and those are given by almost 300 different individuals in our community who have come and pounded that nail,
Mhm.
and all because they want to give. That's their way of giving a hand up, and it's not necessarily just somebody who works
Mhm.
on the Habitat site. I mean, I think she's probably pretty close to 80,
Mhm.
a lady who brings lunch to the people who are working. I mean, there's all different ways that the community lays hands or gives hands to help this, um, whoever the habitat owner is, have a hand up. So I think that the aspect of community involvement, um, and the different ways that the community can be involved, you know, and we really, sometime I should just count, like in a year, how many actual people are involved, not just in building the house, but in bowling or donating to the United Way during the campaign
Mhm.
or um, the corporate sponsors that we
Mhm.
have. It's just a resounding sense of community that few nonprofits can be part of.
That's awesome, and it's a beautiful picture that you paint. I think what I hear you say in the words that I would say, it's about empowerment. It's empowering those individuals. It's empowering our community to, be connected and taking care of one another, and in ways that we are providing platforms and ways for people to be able to have a safe home, right?
Hmm.
Just to have a
Hmm.
home,
Right.
and safety and security, and what that does for families.
Hmm.
So, can you tell me, from the experience you've had in 5 years, right
Hmm.
now, what is something that you feel like you really have learned about serving in the habitat field that you didn't have before?
What I've learned personally, oh
Yeah.
boy. I don't know. Well, I think the sense of community is really important to me.
Mhm.
I think that I've seen a side of Columbus that not everybody gets to experience, and it gives me confidence and maybe empowerment, as you would say. Like, it's all right for me to raise my kids here. It's all right for me to encourage my kids to come back to this community and
Mhm.
raise their kids here. Um, it's all right for me to speak about Columbus as a community because I see all of these good things
Mhm.
kind of from the backside of the tapestry, kind of all those little, knots of a cross stitch.
Yeah.
I think that is what I have taken away from Habitat in these last 5 years. when we received the Faith Build grant from Thrivent, and that was my first year on the job, and I thought, oh, there is no way this is going to work, and I'm going to be fired before I even start, and blah blah blah. But the way I saw more than 20 churches come behind us and help us fulfill the requirements of this grant. I mean, I've just seen it from every aspect of Columbus, or most. I shouldn't say every, but the sense of community and the belief in really that Columbus is something good. I like that tagline because it's true. And I think that's what I take away from Habitat the most.
So how many homes have been built thus far?
Well, Habitat is on 13. I've been part of 7. So we're just about ready to dedicate house 13. We're aiming for July 22nd.
That's exciting.
It is. And this year was so special.
Yes.
What we saw, what we were worried about being a negative has just turned into a huge positive. And I don't know, we might want to keep doing it like this. We have to anyway for the foreseeable future because of the shortage of construction workers in our community.
So expand upon that a little bit.
Okay.
Tell us about what you're seeing, what are some good things that are happening, but as you look to the future, what does that mean for Habitat?
We've actually been searching for a construction manager committed to Habitat since 2020, probably. We've interviewed probably more than 40 people to run our construction program. We've offered different salaries. We've offered different timelines. I guess I feel like we've exhausted everything we can to find the construction manager to build the home. And so as spring came upon us this year, we could either not build the home and stop our program for a while until we found a construction manager, or we could think outside of the box. And we did. We found some wonderful volunteers who have built, I think they've volunteered for Habitats more than 90 plus years put together in the Detroit area and around the country. And they came down, there was 3 of them, and they spent 2 weeks building our house from the basement. We had the basement poured and the beam in place. The board of directors put the beam in place, and they built it to full enclosure. So when they left, the mechanicals came in, the electrician, the HVAC, the plumber, and did their job. And so I do not know how to build a house. I'm really good at go foring this and go foring that, but I'm not
construction.
Yeah. I mean, I can follow directions, but we were done. There was just no one else to do it. We have asked, it feels like everyone in town that we can think of. So if they had not have come down and done that, we wouldn't have our house built this year, or at least not built well. And we have, I think this is my favorite Habitat house so far. We changed the plans this year. Steve Otten did help us do the plans and stuff this year. He built last year's house, and we made some changes. We got to put in a basement in our new addition because our sewer is lower now. All things I never thought I would talk about in my life. And I really like the house. We made it just a little bit bigger. Habitat International has changed their standards a little bit. And so we're building a 1,200 square foot house, 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and a full unfinished basement.
Okay.
So,
and I'm thankful that you thought outside the box, because I got to spend a day with 3 of those gentlemen that came down to help serve, and they were wonderful. So tell us, I mean, because I don't know how to build a house, nor do I even know first thing really about any sort of construction. So volunteerism is huge in regards to Habitat.
Right.
So tell me a little bit about what that looks like for community members and how that they can get involved.
Okay, so the best way to get involved is to find a group that's signed up to build. So we have a large number of the manufacturing companies in town have a build day. A large number of our churches have a build day. So I would check first with somebody you're comfortable with. Where are you already at? Are they involved? And then if that doesn't work, then you can call the Habitat office or email us. All our information is on our website or Facebook page, and we'll plug you in. But you don't need any skill to volunteer. hopefully it's a good day where we teach you something new. I think of you with the saw. They taught you how to use the big chop saw.
I did. That was fun.
Yeah. And, you know, skill is not needed, desire and willingness. And, you know, I just, as I say that, volunteers run through my mind, and we have this lady who is semi-retired, and she'll come. She just shows up and sees what we're doing, and she says, "I can't do that. I can do that," and she just goes with it. So, really, we take everybody. I mean, if you really have no skill, we have dirt that has to be scooped out of the gutters. I mean, anybody can do that. So,
just a willingness to serve,
yeah,
right? Yeah, that's awesome.
and we don't like you have to stay like 8 hours, or you get some kind of punishment. It's not like that. Come, do what you can, and you can go then.
You can go.
Yeah.
So flexible.
Yes, that's the word. Thank you.
So, Lori, it's been a pleasure, but before I let you go, so before this, we confirmed that you would not necessarily be one up in karaoke singing in
No.
front of everyone.
No one wants
but
to
you
hear me
might sing in your car by yourself. So if you were doing so, what is your go-to song?
Well, I don't know that I have a go-to song, but we listen to a lot of praise and worship in our family. So that's always the adult choice. That's always the responsible choice, right? When you have that car full of kids. But if we're on a vacation, and I think my children need to be exposed to 80s hair bands just a little bit.
So what would the 80s hair band of choice be?
Well, I don't know. They know who Def Leppard is.
There we go.
Yeah, they can
some
little
80s
Guns
rock
N'
and roll.
Roses. Yeah. And I even heard my son lifting weights to Metallica the other day, and I'm like, "Where did you get that song?" He's like, "Mom, don't judge me. Just leave me alone." So anyway,
music can be the universal language
yeah,
at times. Yes.
yeah.
Well,
and
thank
it's good
you.
to be able to just jam out with your kids and let them think you're obnoxious and an
As
idiot.
well.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, thank you for the work you do. Thank you for the impact that you make. And
Thank you.
We're so thankful to have your organization within our community.
Thank you.
Thank you.